Hi, I'm the Malt activist and I'm super excited about this next whiskey that we have. This is called the PEATS Beast Batch Strength. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm super impressed with good looking labels, and this whiskey has a fantastic label. It's got this cool beast and it's made up of whiskey barrels. Have a look again. Check that out. I hope you can see it. And this is served at what they call batch strength. I don't know what that means. Does that just mean cask strength? So just say cask strength. What do you want to say? Batch strength. Unless I have no idea what I'm talking about and there is such a thing as batch strength. I'm assuming yes, it's the strength of this particular batch, but hey, anyway, that's not what we are here for. So this is called the PEATS Beast. It's bottled at 54.1%, which I'm assuming is cask strength. It doesn't say what whiskey or distillery this is from. So I'm going to guess this is some sort of Islay whiskey which has been intensely sherried up in PX casks. It says it's a Finnish, so I'm going to assume that it spent its first few years in ex-bourbon barrels and was then exposed to this really active PX sherry cask, and hence this color that you can see. Quite dark. I'm excited about this. Let's see what the fuss is all about. Immediately the color is quite dark, as you would expect an intensely sherried Finnish whiskey to be. Something not nice about this. Shit. I have a feeling this is quite sulfured. I get these rotten eggshells first up. Though it's kind of mellowing away, you know, so maybe this needs to sit. I think it probably needs to sit for about 5-10 minutes before we can, objectively judge it. But my first thing was, oh, there's something wrong. Interesting. That first note is almost dissipated. Have I just gotten used to it? Smells quite nice now. I'm still getting the little tinge of rotten eggshells, but it's right there at the back. And with each nose, it seems to become less and less. Okay, let me neutralize. Yep, it's back. That was just my nose playing tricks. Okay, so let's do this. Let's pause for 5 minutes and let it rest and settle down, and then we'll come back to it and we'll see if, you know, those notes persist. See you in a bit. Hi, and we're back. And through the magic of editing, you would have only been waiting 1 second, whereas it was an eternity for me. Well, 5 minutes. So I've let it rest for 5 minutes, and that peculiar sulfury smell, which seems to me like rotten eggshells, has all but disappeared. I can still catch it if I really put my mind to it, but seems to have gone. So okay, so if you get your hands on this one and you're as sensitive to sulfur as I am, then probably about 5 to 10 minutes in the glass would help. I envy people who are not sensitive to sulfur. You know, I've had people like look at me strange and be like, there's nothing wrong with this whiskey, don't be silly. And I get this, whoa, you know, intense garbage can smell. Sometimes there was this one whiskey we had, I won't take its name, and that was so heavily sulfured for me and another friend of mine who's equally sensitive, and we both smelled the same thing, and our faces just went "Arr!" But everybody around us was like, hey, this is not bad, yeah, you know, a nice sherry whiskey. And me and him were looking at each other like, don't they smell it? And then I did a bit of research and I found out, well, you're genetically, you know, disposed to either be sensitive to sulfur or not. I wish I wasn't. That way a lot more whiskeys would be, you know, that much more accessible to me. But, oh well. Coming back to this. So I'm not really sure if this is sulfured or it just needed to sit, because if it was sulfured, I'd still get that, you know, rotten eggshell note, but I'm not getting it. So I'm not 100% sure. I think there's a tinge of sulfur to it and it comes and goes. That's the only explanation I can give. So yeah, so this is quite meaty. It says it's intensely peated. I don't really get the peat that much or the smoke, but this is it's definitely a peaty whiskey. The 54.1% ABV really comes up into your nose. Quite jammy, dark fruits, plums, and dark grapes, red wine tannins, as you would expect from, you know, any sort of intensely sherried whiskey. Dry and dusty as well, some sort of cardboard type elements. Bit musty, but not overly so. Quite savory on the nose. And there's a tanginess to this as well, like a sour red berry. Yeah, and I'm getting that sort of dry talcum powder note as well. So do I like it or I don't like? I don't know. It's quite interesting, this nose, you know. It started off as bad and now it's kind of become interesting in the sense that it's a very unusual nose. Yeah, it's becoming more crisp as it oxidizes. Okay, I think we've spent enough time on the nose. Yeah, nothing. I mean, nothing more. Woo! This is actually not bad. I was expecting it to be super bitter and have a lot of off notes, but it's quite decent actually. Quite lots of dark fruits, cocoa, you know, coffee beans, roasted coffee beans. It's quite woody, very, very earthy. I can get the peat in between. The finish is long. It's like, it's sort of, you know, sticking on my tongue on either side with its dry woody spices. So this is a bit of a roller coaster of a whiskey, you know. It started off as like, I was like, oh my god, I'm not going to like this, to hey, this is not so bad after all, you know. When would I drink this? I would take this to a whiskey tasting and do a little blind tasting with everyone, and they'd be like, what is this? This is weird. And then they would find out and they'd be like, whoa, that's weird. So I think that's pretty much what I would use this whiskey for, as a novelty whiskey. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I would like give this to unsuspecting people and be like, can you guess what this is? And they'd rack their brains and they'd be like, this is way too sherried and peaty to be a typical Islay whiskey. We wonder what it is. And then I'd show them this bottle and they'd be like, whoa, that's crazy. So yeah, should you get it? I don't know. If you're sensitive to sulfur like I am, then maybe not. But if you're adventurous and you want to try something that's like really unique, and you want to share it with your friends, then yes, then definitely get this. Whatever said and done, it's got a cool label which I really like. I'd buy this whiskey on that label alone. So yes, thank you for joining me for yet another whiskey review. I'm the Malt Activist. Until next time, peace.